There's no going back. It's official. It's time to take care of business.
You are Locked On Trojans, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Culkin, and thank you for making Locked On USC part of the Locked On Network, your first listen every day. Whether you're watching the show on YouTube, wherever you are downloading your podcast, the show is free, and this show always appreciates your support. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. As the playoffs wind down, the sports, they're just not sporting like we want them to. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all of their customers with a boost or bonus, and they're doing it daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. USC is ready to play football in the big conference. The Big Ten officially expands to 18 teams Friday, August 2nd. If you are watching this episode of Locked On USC today in the USA, it's day one of a new Trojan era. Yeah, it started officially today, Friday, August 2nd. So you got USC plus that other school that, that's located in LA with USC. And they're being joined by the Huskies and the Ducks. So those are the four newest members of the big conference, aka the Big Ten, or the team with 18 teams. Yeah, I have a feeling that there's a new branding in the works. You look at their logo, just says big. Keep an eye on that. Back to where we're going. They're going to drop that 10 eventually. So again, it's official now. And you know what else is official? All of those class of 2025 recruits that USC has already received commitments from. What's official about it is they can now claim those commitments that they actually have an official offer from USC. Yeah, it's that time of the year, August, beginning of, where the NCAA says, okay, you can actually give out official offers to the young men who are going into their senior year, the juniors to be seniors. So these are the guys going into for the class of 2025. They now have their official offers. I want you to hold on to that thought, because that's going to be part of my Friday rant. I'm going to tie a big old bow on this thing when we get there. So again, August 1st is when official offers can go out. So despite the recruits being able to commit without one, really, it makes sense, huh? I mentioned the other day that Locked on my another episode of Locked On USC, that August is going to be a really big month for announcements, and not just for USC. I think in general in college football, but USC is they're going to have a hand in the action. They're going to be at the party. In fact, I even think Julian Lewis is going to officially shut it down completely, despite, he's been committed to USC since August of 2023, even though today he finally got his official offer from Lincoln Riley and the USC football program. Again, it doesn't make any sense. Hold on to that thought. Look, if Trojan fans, if you're trying to read the tea leaves, is Juju going to be a Trojan? Who's committing? Who's going to stick with their commitments? I think we might have a sign. Okay. I think we might have a sign that Juju is going to come to USC despite all the other hoopla out there. I know Colorado fan thinks he's going to Boulder. I get it. No doubt, if Juju's looking for a guaranteed starting spot, go be Coach Prime's new adopted son. It makes all the sense in the world. Other than that, it makes no sense in the world. And it makes no sense in the world because if you ask Julian this question, who's going to be protecting you up front on that offensive line? Who are your skill position players? Yeah, he's probably going to give you that 1,000-yard stare. So, again, Colorado, they think they're in it. Auburn, they conceded the race quite a while ago. I just got too expensive in that bidding war for them, believe it or not. You don't hear Indiana's name other than, the occasional photo edit every now and then, like today's official offer photo edit that Julian tweeted or sent out on X. Georgia, they still have a hat in the room because Julian's from the state of Georgia. Here's your latest clue. Okay, this is why Juju will be a USC Trojan eventually. He'll sign his name. He'll be practicing on USC's new practice field on their new turf. Former Auburn commit, Cardi Smith, offensive lineman, offensive tackle. You might my everydayers, you've heard me mention that name before. In fact, I already predicted that he would be a Trojan. Well, Cardi Smith posted a message on X today that his commitment is coming soon. Quickly after that, On Three's, the On Three Network, Auburn insider, he flipped his prediction to USC. Again, I told you about a month ago now what my prediction was. So I'm glad On Three is on board. Glad they caught up. My information was coming from somebody pretty close to the process with the Locked On Network. By the way, you should go check out the Locked On Auburn show when you have a chance. A really good show. But yeah, a lot of news out there. So, and another thing where I think you might want to feel a little bit more comfortable about Juju coming to USC. When you have an offensive lineman that you're close with in your class that's probably going to commit to the same school you want to go to, that's a good sign, right? So Cardi Smith told Scott Schrader over there at WeRC.com that he's working on an announcement date, time, and location. Okay. Probably a good sign. In other potential August signing news, so I just talked about Cardi Smith. Juju might have another offensive lineman in this class ready to come on board. USC's in a really good place for Aaron Dunn, offensive tackle from the state of Utah, 6'7.5", 290 pounds. He is the On Three Network's 229th rated prospect in the 2025 cycle. And he said he's ready to commit August 8th. And the finalist for the young man who plays at Spanish Fork High School in Utah, you got BYU, you got USC, you've got Oregon, UCLA, and Utah. Most believe the final ranking pecking order shakes out this way: USC, BYU, Utah, Oregon. So yeah, things are feeling really good right now. The team feels good. There's 4 guys that won't be available for practice. I believe I brought that up on yesterday's episode of Locked On USC, so you can go check that out. Or you can go check out my notes and observations report that I have at WeRC.com when you're done watching this episode of Locked On USC. The defense is they are walking around, and it's not like they have their chest puffed out. They're not flexing, but they do have a very quiet confidence about themselves right now. Some of you might be old enough to remember the old Robert Conrad commercials where he, knocked the battery off my shoulder. They're standing there saying, "Go ahead, knock the battery off my shoulder." That's how confident they are. So today, you're watching this episode. Practice number 1, fall camp. It's open. Hello. Guys are going to be out there in shorts and helmets. You're not going to see a lot. I am going to see everybody out there. They're going to be bigger bodies. I'll get to see that. A lot of energy at 7 a.m. I better be seeing a lot of energy. I would hate for them to kick off first day of camp and just the guys to be a little bit listless. I would anticipate that not happening. Let's just put it there. This coaching staff is not going to stand for it, especially Eric Henderson. Yeah, you don't want to go there. So whatever happens out there, first day of fall camp, I'll be there. I'll have a full notes and observations report. You're going to be getting an extra episode of Locked On USC this weekend because of it. And so whatever's available, I'm going to bring it back here. I'm going to tell you all about it. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the men's hoops team coming up next. Yeah, Good stuff coming up. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home that winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more, whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. Because with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber and not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Yeah, you've got Fox Sports on. If you don't have Fox Sports on, you probably have ESPN on your TV all day. You don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to turn down the volume with all that shouting. Make the switch to Locked On Sports today. It's a free 24/7 sports streaming channel, and it's programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the yelling. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news, and it's streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I told you on yesterday's episode of Locked On USC that I was checking out the men's basketball practice, their last summer workout of the summer. They're going to reconvene. They're going to get back together August 22nd. So today the media was asked to come on out there, check it out. This was my first time seeing Coach Musselman, meeting him, seeing the team, meeting some of the players. Yeah, good stuff's ahead. Call it controlled chaos. I don't know. Call it a frenetic frenzy. But whatever you want to call it. For 60 minutes, Coach Eric Musselman, oh man, he has that team in constant motion. There is no downtime, no breaks. Everything is going 100 miles an hour. That's not hyperbole. I'm not exaggerating. When D'Anton Lynn was hired as USC's defensive coordinator on the football program, he talked about having obnoxious communication when the players on the field. He wants players just talking. I know exactly what obnoxious communication looks and sounds like. When the ball was in motion, and even when it wasn't, so was everyone's mouth. I mean, there was just chatter going on in the court. You could not hear the shoes squeaking. That's how much talking was going on. This team is going to be really versatile because they're not very big. They have 6'10" Josh Cohen, and then you got Harrison Hornery, who's 6'9", maybe 6'10" on a good day. So again, not a very big team. Very, we'll call it wing-oriented. A lot of combo 2-3, small 4 type of guys. There's a few guys on this team who could play all 5 positions, and they're going to be asked to. St. Thomas being one of them. Coach Musselman mentioned how he could play 1 through 5. I don't know if I want to see him playing the 5 too often, but maybe he could do it in a zone defense. I don't want to see him do it in a man-to-man type of situation in the Big Ten Conference. I just don't. Anyways, back to the practice. So again, last summer workout, August 22nd, they will all come back together. The stuff I was watching, for those of you who don't know, I dipped my toes into high school coaching back in the day. I was a high school basketball coach. The most rewarding experience I've ever had in my entire life, in any job opportunity. Excuse me. I love what I do now, but when I say rewarding, and I'll tell the story another time, but yeah, coaching, I love it. So when I was coaching, what I was watching with Coach Muss, it kind of reminded me what I used to do when I was coaching. So I saw a lot of ball handle drills. Typically I didn't show the basketball for the first 45 minutes of practice, but Can't do that in college. So especially when you only have a 60-minute practice. So everybody's working on their ball handling skills. That immediately turns into closeout drills on defense. And when they're closing out, those guys who close out and they're going all the way out to the 3-point line and to the wing, they got to immediately, after they close out, they got to race back and get into rebounding position. And then every single one of them simulates jumping up to grab a rebound like there was a live ball. I'm telling you, you are always moving. There is no time to rest. If anything, this team is going to be one of the most well-conditioned teams, not just in the big conference, in the country. Everything was worked, it was designed to have conditioning involved in it. And if USC is going to be hitting the recruiting trail, getting the top guys out there, one of the top guys was actually checking out today's session. He's considered the number 4 prospect in the country per On3, Darren Patterson. I believe he's from the state of Kansas. And I was told USC feels really good where they're at with him right now. Long ways to go. Anyways, USC has the attention of some of the best recruits in the country. That's the point you should take away from this. Again, everything that I saw in today's workout, completely different than what I used to see when Coach Enfield was running his sessions. There's nothing wrong with the way Coach Enfield ran his practice sessions. I used to love them. Good, fast, upbeat, fast-paced. This was different, though. Just a different level of intensity. So I after practice, when I was talking to Coach Muss, I said, first impressions are lasting impressions. And that 60 minutes made a lasting impression on me. Because he was talking about how they've been injured throughout the summer and, they've been down players. And he says, that pace we were running at is probably about a 6. And my eye just kind of popped out of my head. I was like, whoa. I have no idea what 7, 8, 9, or 10 looks like on his Marshall amp. So I think his goes past 10, goes all the way up to 11. If you're a Spinal Tap fan, you understand that analogy. I'm telling you, these guys were going 100 miles per hour. And if they're doing that at level 6, again, I'm kind of afraid to know what 7, 8, 9, 10 looks like when they're completely healthy. What I do know, it's going to bode well because it's going to make them bring the effort. If you don't have the effort, you're not going to be on the floor with this team, period. End of story. Josh Cohen, he's the 6'10" transfer from UMass. He was going to go wherever Coach Muss was. He was already transferred or committed to go to Arkansas, Fayetteville. And then Coach Muss made the switch, and boom, Josh Cohen said, I was going wherever he was going. So that's why he chose USC out of the transfer portal. I bring that up because there was one drill that was going on. I was kind of had my head down. I was taking some notes, and then all of a sudden I heard Coach Muss. He blew the whistle. He said, "Josh, why did you do that? You're not at UMass anymore." And he didn't say it in a mean, condescending way. It was just he stopped practice. 10 seconds, Josh. Why did you do that? You're not at UMass anymore. Blew the whistle. It's time to go back to practice. So it solicited a chuckle for me. It was just the right coaching moment at the right time. And that's the other thing I noticed about Coach. He's not a yeller. He's not a screamer. At least he wasn't today. But he knows how to get his message across in a very clear, concise manner. And boom, go right back to practice. Something else that really stuck out. Big emphasis on footwork and floor awareness. That was really emphasized. The attention to defensive details. Yeah, you could really see it in everything they do. I know Coach Enfield, you have to play defense if you wanted to be on the court. You're going to get that same type of philosophy from Coach Muss. Defense always leads to offense. They have a DJ there. call him the video guy as well. I don't know why they picked this particular music, but there was one drill where they had the Austin Powers theme music going on, and I couldn't stop laughing because it just seemed so perfect for the drill they were running. And it was just a bunch of guys, a lot of shifting, a lot of shuffling the feet. I don't know if it looked like they were dancing per se, but the music just fit the moment. So I was laughing. If you haven't seen Austin Powers, go see Austin Powers, and you'll know the music I'm talking about. Towards the end of practice, I love the 2-on-1 drill that he likes to run. It's smalls. You got two smaller guys passing the ball, trying to finish at the rim. They get, getting it over the big man in the middle. And then they switch roles. You got the two bigs coming at the guy standing in the middle, trying to stop the score at the rim. On one of those drills, there was a really explosive finish, and coach stopped right away, blew the whistle, got the whole team together, brought in trainer John Yamanini. You should remember that name. He's the gentleman who's been on staff forever with the program. He kind of saved Vince Uwachukwu and Bronny James' life when they collapsed on the court when they had their heart issues. So he is still with the program. Anyways, the anecdote I'm trying to get to here is Rashawn Agee had a really strong finish at the rim during this drill. And coach said, all right, stop. Everyone come on in. John, get over here. Apparently, Agee's been one of the guys who has been dealing with an ankle injury. And the fact that he got that John was able to get him back as quickly as he did, coach wanted to point that out. So everybody was lifting John up over everybody's head. They were having a celebratory moment. Again, the way coach runs practice, it's intense, it's intense, it's intense. Oh, and then I got a message for you. Let's do this. And then it's intense, it's intense, it's intense. It's a fun workout. In the past, and usually with football, coaches and players, they talk about their why, what their motivation. When practice first started, I couldn't really hear the story, so I had Harrison Hornery explain to me what the mattress truck was all about. Coach was talking about the mattress truck message. He asked, what's the message? And Harrison was the one who raised his hand and explained it when the team was right before the team started to go into practice. I have the video posted on YouTube. I will have the video posted on YouTube, so check it out. It's Harrison and it's Desmond Claude and Josh Cohen. They were talking, and Harrison was explaining that one of his professors, I guess, had a life or death situation. And it was when he, I guess, came to, he saw a mattress truck, and it was his eye-opening moment. When he opened his eyes, that's what he saw. It was a mattress truck at an advertisement. And so instead of the why, coach was asking the guys, hey, what is your eye-opening, what's your eye-opening moment, so to speak? What's it going to mean for you to get you to do what's necessary? What's important? I think one of the funniest things I heard when the players were talking, a couple of them, when they transferred out to LA, they forgot their basketball shoes. Harrison had to come to the rescue. Not once, twice, believe it or not. So it's really hard to describe how much respect his teammates have for him. Let me just tell you, it's a lot. I mean, he's the sole survivor from the old program. Him and J.D. Plow, walk on. So those are the two sole survivors, plus John Yamanini. I know what I described at the beginning of this segment. It kind of sounds like the old school Paul Westphal style of offense, maybe, or that Nolan Smith system that he used to run at Arkansas back in the day. 60 minutes. It was just frenetic play, full court press the entire time. You're going to get a little bit of that type of energy on defense, the pressing. But after practice, coach said, hey, look, we're going to run a lot of NBA sets. going to have a big playbook. It's all about getting these guys developed so they can be successful at their next level. One last thing I want to talk about with the basketball team before I get into my third segment, Friday's rant. There's something else that Coach talked about. It's called availability. And I asked him about that specifically because he was pointing it out during practice. Guys who others can count on to show up. This is like a real thing in the NBA right now. When NBA teams do their homework, before they draft guys, bring them in for free agent signings. Coach was telling us how the NBA teams are asking about the players' availability. So he was pointing out, the guys who are available all summer. Guys who, for whatever reason, no matter what, they were always there. Whether it's Harrison Hornery finding basketball shoes for guys, showing up to practice, showing up to every workout, doing what's necessary. Trojan fans, let me tell you, you're going to like this squad. It's just a bunch of dudes. You probably haven't heard of many of them. I'm still learning their names, so forgive me. But I did get word that they want a lot of advertising. They want they want the media to really help sell the program. So I'm already working, lining up players and assistant coaches to come on the show. So stay tuned for that in the future. But as far as this team, again, just these guys, they just all came together. They're having fun, hanging out together. They don't do much. They eat together. They just do everything. They're not about going out and hitting the town. Their goal, get to the NCAA tournament this year. They didn't come here just to kind of lay the foundation. No, they came here to win, get to the tournament. And they actually want to win. John Rothstein, he has them ranked number 15. Not in the country, in the Big 10 Conference, the Big 18, in the Big Conference. You know how the team knows it? I let them know. So I said, hey, look, one of the players said, I was on a team that was picked, 15th in our league, and we ended up number 4. So let people think what they want to think. We know what we want to do, was the message. I love sports. I love football. I love basketball. I love USC football and basketball. I had a great time at practice today. But you know what? The playoffs, they're done. We're waiting for Major League Baseball to start their playoffs. So there's not a lot going on. And the sports, they're not sporting them like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports whenever I want. All I have to do is open up the app, dream up a bet anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus. And they're doing that daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So head on over to FanDuel.com/lockedon and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. It's Friday. I got a few things I need to get off my chest. Some of you know by now, my everydayers do. A lot of you will get to know me a lot better as you continue to make yourself an everyday watcher, listener of this show. I am someone who needs common sense. That's all I need. I don't need a lot, but I do need common sense. So, for instance, if I ever see a 5'6" defensive tackle playing football at USC, I need to know why, because that wouldn't make any sense. All I know is that guy better be better. He better be better than Mike Patterson was when he played at USC. Okay, Mike Patterson wasn't the tallest guy in the world. He was maybe 6 foot, 6'1". Yeah, not the tallest dude in the room, but he can get the job done. You know what else doesn't make sense? Seeing females competing against men in sports. That doesn't make any sense to me. Watching a guy punch a lady in the face in the Olympics. Yeah, someone tell me why that's allowed. In the real world, that would be considered assault. A man punching a woman. Anyways, the only time I want to see men and women competing together is if they're playing in a beer league co-ed softball league. That's it. You know what else doesn't make sense? Check this out. The other day, I went to pay for something. I was at Amazon Fresh. I figured I would just take out my phone, hold it up to the reader, do a quick checkout. Instead, the person literally looked me in the eye and said, our system doesn't do the mobile card reader. But, you can use your ATM card with a chip. You can hold it next to it. Or, check this out, we can scan your hand. That was the look I gave him. So he's telling me I could pay for my food with a vital sign and a hard ATM card that's in my phone at the same machine, but I can't hold the phone up. Excuse me. How in the world does that make sense? Someone help me out here. You know what else doesn't make sense? Stanford and Oregon State whining about USC's curtain being open inside the Galen Center. Yeah. I got the whole story about that. I asked the question. I said, is USC going to be allowed to have the curtain open now that they're in the big conference? Now that Stanford isn't in the Pac-12 anymore, or in the big, they don't play USC anymore. And I didn't really get a clear answer, but it was like, I don't see why not. Stanford and Oregon State, they're not on USC's schedule anymore. So yeah, official word, it was the Beavers and the trees damming up everything. Yeah, stupid joke, sorry. Kobe Johnson didn't make sense. Him transferring to UCLA. You know why it didn't make sense? You know why he transferred to UCLA? Because he was mad at the former staff. I can't think of a player who would have fit in more perfectly with Coach Muss's style than Kobe Johnson. But anyways, I've talked in the past about last year's roster, the NIL, the ego. Bronny James being forced into a rotation that he did not deserve to be in. That rubbed a lot of the players the wrong way. And Kobe said, you know what? Screw it. I'm heading across town to that other school. But again, it doesn't make any sense. He would be the dude at USC this year. And you know what else doesn't make sense? I told you about it earlier in the show. These kids, and yeah, when they're 14 years old, class of 2027, committing, that makes no sense to me. You're 14. You're still going through puberty. You don't get your first official offer, remember, until 2026. That's 2 years from now. So you're committing to a school that you might not even get an official offer from. What are you going to do? That makes no sense. Stop committing. Enjoy the process. All right, that's my Friday rant. Got it all off my chest. I told you I'll be back with another episode of Locked on USC this weekend. I'm going to have a couple of practices under my belt. Got first day of camp on Friday, today, and then again on Saturday. So at some point this weekend, keep checking in on Locked on USC, and I'll give you all my practice notes, observations, keep you updated. So until then, everyone, you know what to do.